This one comes from Mike in New Jersey. Mike says, "Hi, Dad. This fellow dad would like to know how you go about telling what crowds will be for future dates. Is it only previous year's data, and where does that data come from? We are traveling to Disney December 11th through 17th, and I have a feeling it's going to be packed. At 180 days out, it was nearly impossible to land an advanced primo dining reservation, and that has been the case since that point. I've also inquired about DVC rooms at that time, and none are available. Plus, they're doing a free dining plan promotion, and lastly, this unfortunate hurricane word is that people push their vacation back. With that data, would you change your estimates? Do you still feel like it will be moderate? I hope you're right. Thanks, fellow dad." Well, Mike, how do I come up with my crowd predictions? Well, it's like the old, I was a government employee for a long time, so I could tell you, but then I'd have to, no, I better not say that. I use lots of different ways to figure out what the crowds are. I look at the crowds from year to year, not just last year, but from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago, and I compare what the trends are through the years. I also look at the events that are going on at the time. We'll talk about that a little more in a couple of questions. There's a question about this in just a couple of minutes. I look at not just what people have, the crowd levels that people have, but what actually people in the parks are saying about crowd levels. So I keep up with what everybody's saying about the crowd levels, and then compare that to what published information about crowd levels. So there's a lot that goes into my crowd projections. And basically the bottom line is just the way I feel about what the crowds are going to be. I kind of have watched it for years. I know the crowd patterns. I like to say I'm more accurate than your local weatherman. So let's talk about December 11th through 17th. When it comes to making hotel reservations, last week I did a little bit about I came up with a blog post. We talked about this last week in Lunch with Dad. Why you can't book Disney hotels right now? Why the hotels all seem to be full? Number one, Disney has about 6% or between 6 and 8% of their hotel rooms either have been demolished with the Coronado Springs and the Caribbean Beach Resort construction. They've been demolished. The Pop Century has some big refurb going on. A lot of rooms are out of service there. Overall, with the Wilderness Lodge, when they took some of those rooms and took the 8-person rooms, turned them into 4-person rooms. The Polynesian took 2-3 buildings out and made them DVC buildings. So there are a lot of rooms that just aren't available that were available 3 to 5 years ago, which is some of the reasons why you see these good neighbor hotels getting things like Fast Pass Plus. Heard rumors that they're also going to get or extra magic hours. Don't know for sure yet, but that hasn't been announced. But I've heard rumors that that's going to happen too. And it's to kind of relieve that overcrowding situation. Disney also redid the way that they book weekend rooms, and that has affected some of the longer trips. If you're doing a Monday through Thursday trip, you're probably not going to have that much problem finding a room. But when you go over those weekend days, those Friday, Saturday, Sunday night dates, there's a little more problem. All right, so secondly, ADRs. When it comes to ADRs, it's always hard to get those primo reservations, especially, believe it or not, low times of year when free dining is in play. People get free dining. What is the first thing they're going to book? They're going to book those ADRs. And those primo ADRs always book quickly. I know we tried to get a couple of years ago, we tried to get a Be Our Guest reservation. We struggled and struggled. And finally, we were able to do it. So that's not atypical. That is pretty standard operating practices with those primo reservations. You got to hit them right at 180 days. And you need that. If you didn't have a reservation, you didn't have that 180 plus 10 that makes it easier to book those primo reservations. DVC rooms. Why is it hard to book DVC rooms? Well, part of the problem is there is a big DVC event on the 11th. So DVC rooms are going to be pretty much booked at that time because of the DVC event. So if you're trying to do the 11th through the 17th, that's what makes it harder. All these things have come together to make it look like that the crowds are out of control. I don't believe it. I don't think you're going to find that is the case. I have been at Disney World that week for 3 years in a row. This is the week we've had our magazine Christmas party. I've held the magazine Christmas party. So I've been there that week for 3 years in a row. And yes, it is moderately, occasionally heavy, but it doesn't get much above that. And I don't see that happening this year. Yes, there are some people that are going to be there because of Hurricane Irma. But again, that number is very, very small because you think about it. That was the slowest time of the year. And the people that are rebooking from Irma are spread out over 6, 12 weeks. And maybe they don't even rebook. So I just don't see that as being a big factor. The bottom line is that I still believe that will be a moderate to maybe just a little bit heavy time. It won't be crazy. It won't be packed, as you say. It will be moderate. I'm just almost sure of it. Anyway, there we go, Mike. Thanks so much for watching Dad's video. For more simple, fun, magic Walt Disney World information, go to Dad's Guide to WDW.com. You can do that by clicking the I button that's popping up on the screen right now. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and get more Dad's YouTube videos with Daditude.